Okay guys, welcome to a lovely day back at it. So today is the day we're gonna be finishing this thing. Seriously, I'm not gonna come back to this. And here's the deal. Look guys, I have my freaking whole canopy up and I have no shade, so I'm already getting sunburnt on the back of my legs, and it's like 7 something. All right, anyways, here's our fuel injectors. So as you can see, these are a little bit tricky. So everything basically has to be put together and then set in there strategically. So you can't just throw the fuel injectors in there. I mean, these kind of, like I said before, these are a pain in the butt. So I'll show you how to do it. Let's get at it. All right, so we can get our little table set up here. We get the new fuel injectors. So here's the deal. This fuel rail, we can't get in with that fuel rail in first, because you see that right there? So what happens is, as soon as you try to drop it down, it hits. So you have to put this fuel rail in first, but everything has to be connected to it. With the fuel injectors, they have 2 different style connectors. You see that? So you have to put them up here first to make sure that you mimic it. You see that zip tie? So I actually know exactly where this one goes. This one gets set in this front rail here, and this one gets set in the rear. Just like that, we're just gonna mimic it up. So this, instead of clipping, it actually just slides right on. Just like that, and then you can just plug it in. Right, so with our new injectors, before I go ahead and slide these O-rings in, guys, sometimes they will fold and they'll roll down. So what I've learned to do, just take, you can get this little guy at O'Reilly for like $5. That one's good. So how I actually do these back ones, because they are so damn tricky and almost impossible to get that rail in with the injectors, but how I do these back ones is I put the fuel injector in first, and then I'll put the fuel rail on. All right, so you can struggle with this rear one if you don't develop yourself a plan. So what I did is I just stuck this side in first. Just gotta make sure that we're on our injectors, which I do believe so. All right, so before I can really do anything, I gotta put the rest of this stuff on. So I'm gonna turn this from this to this to this. Guys, I can almost taste it. All right guys, so we're here. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it with all the fluids that we need to: oil, coolant, power steering fluid. And then, all right everybody, when it comes to installing a new engine and then pre-lubing it and everything like that, they do have a machine that you can pre-lube it from the bottom up. However, if you don't have that machine, or you just don't want to use it, pull the spark and the fuel relay or fuse, whichever or, and then honestly guys, you're gonna have to crank this bad boy. The manual says crank it for 2 minutes, so all right guys, time to hook up this battery. Guys, so I disconnected the spark plugs and the fuel injectors. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. So it's not going to start. I'm just cranking it for a couple minutes, so that way I can pre-lube the engine before I go ahead and start her up. All right guys, and because I did remove the rack and pinion, and I took off the power steering pump off the old engine, this vehicle does need to be bled through the rack and pinion and the power steering system. So how to do that is to fill the reservoir to the full mark, and then we're just gonna turn all the way to the left. We're gonna turn all the way to the right. It's gonna be a bit hard in the beginning until that fluid travels through, and then it'll get a little easier. And after doing this a couple times, we're going to want to go ahead and double check and make sure that our fluid doesn't need to be topped off, and then restart. All right guys, it's go time. All right guys, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm pretty sure this starter is just trashed. I inside trying to crank it, and the starter's not engaging at all. So I'm about to pull it out and test it and make sure. I have it halfway out after I had to retake off the exhaust and everything, and it looks all burnt up. So hook up our positive here. I swear, dude, if this starter is bad and I literally have to go get another starter, I'm gonna... Oh my god, dude, are you serious? Well guys, as unfortunate as that is, I'm gonna have to go get a starter and come back and put it on. And they're kind of a pain in the butt to, you know, install and remove when everything's on the vehicle. There's not really anybody I can blame except myself, you know, because realistically I should have freaking checked it. It's super easy to check that starter, and I was just kind of thinking for the best, and